We just got breaking news that we finally have the official end of the Ripple SEC case. In this video, I want to talk about what just happened that is very different from what we were talking about yesterday and what it means for XRP moving forward. We also have an exclusive clip of Chris Larsen talking about their work with large financial institutions. Make sure to stick around for that. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. I want to start out this video and talk about the big news we just got, and this is very big news, and honestly, not too surprising, and that's that the Ripple SEC case looks to officially be dropped. Now, Brad Garlinghouse just put out a post. He said Ripple is dropping our cross appeal, and the SEC is expected to drop their appeal, as they previously said, which the SEC has already stated they're going to be dropping it, and that means we're closing this chapter once and for all. This is officially done. He said, back to building the internet of value, lock in. So this is obviously extremely exciting. The Ripple SEC case looks to officially be over, and this saga is now completely closed. Now, a lot of people are probably a bit confused by this news because just yesterday, Judge Torres denied Ripple and the SEC remedying the case. Now, what's so interesting about this is, and I tried to make this clear, the remedy that Ripple and the SEC were looking for was really nothing more than a nice to have. It was just a cherry on top if they could get it. But I'll talk about why they didn't actually need that cherry on top because it's very important. Ripple and the SEC have already come to the determination, right, that XRP is not a security and that Ripple is going to be running one of the most important cryptocurrency businesses in the United States. That's very clear. Now, Ripple and the SEC have essentially worked over the past couple months to say, you know what? None of this made any sense to start. You should have never been sued. You should have never had this fine. Let's just go back to Judge Torres and ask her to erase all of it. Now, this is coming after Ripple already got their big win, right? So Ripple got this massive win. XRP wasn't a security. The SEC was asking for $10 billion at one point. They're pretty much getting nothing. They're getting 150 million, and they both kind of were right. Well, the SEC was unhappy about it at the time. Ripple was very happy. And then ultimately they both said, you know what, even though Ripple still only has a slap on the wrist, let's just go erase this entire thing, right? Let's make it like it never happened. Judge Torres is like, no, we can't just erase this thing. I already ruled on it. It's already law. So Ripple and the SEC are now saying, you know what? Well, it doesn't really matter, right? Ripple's got the money to pay the fine, and the only thing left that people were looking at as a potential issue is the injunction. So let's talk about a bit on the injunction. Now, I've talked about the injunction quite a bit on this channel, but Stuart Alderati just confirmed something extremely important here, and this is the important thing that I've been trying to drive home for everyone on the channel. Stuart Alderati specifically says that Ripple will no longer be challenging the historic institutional sales. Key word there being historic. It's the most important part of this entire thing, and what I have been trying to drive home. Ripple is not selling XRP the way they used to financial institutions. I've brought this up so many times on the channel, but it feels really good to see Stuart Alderati actually go and confirm this. Ripple has a new way of selling XRP to financial institutions. That's the new way of selling XRP to financial institutions, not the historic way. Judge Torres barred them from selling XRP to financial institutions the historic way. So what do they have to do? Not do it the historic way and do it the new way. A lot of people made this injunction seem like it's the end of the world for Ripple, but it's so easy. There's about 1 billion different things you can do to sell XRP differently. Like literally anything. Think of how many different ways I can sell you 10 XRP. I can sell it for 1 cent above asking price. I can sell it for 1 cent below asking price. I can attach extra disclosures. I can do no time releases. I can put time releases on it. There's billions of different creative ways you can sell XRP slightly differently from how Judge Torres said they're not allowed to do it anymore. They just have to do things slightly differently. That's all this injunction was. And even funnier is they can still sell XRP the historic way. If they want to, they just have to tell the SEC they're doing that and register it. So this was always something that a lot of people were making a big deal about, but didn't amount to pretty much anything. Ripple can still go about their business exactly how they were. And the only thing they have to do slightly differently now is pay a bigger fine and just sell XRP different to financial institutions than they were doing in the past. So Ripple's got billions and billions of dollars. They're looking to acquire companies. The 150 million is going to be nothing for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC does something like ends up just paying Ripple back. We'll see what they end up doing there. For some reason, I feel like Ripple and the SEC are going to have some sneaky way for Ripple to not even have to pay the 150 million. So this is all ending exactly how people thought in the beginning. It's a slap on the wrist. XRP is not a security. Ripple has to pay a fine, and we move on. Ripple wins. The case is now, outside of the SEC dropping their appeal, completely over. Done. And we never have to worry about this again. The SEC, I'm projecting, will drop their appeal sometime in the next 2 weeks, and this entire thing will be behind us. Now, just understand, the SEC is already committed to dropping the appeal, so it's essentially over, right? Ripple is saying they're going to drop the appeal. The SEC is saying they're going to drop the appeal. Both appeals are done. Reverts back to Judge Torres's original ruling. The original ruling was a $150 million fine for Ripple, and they have to sell XRP differently than they were selling it before in the past. And that's it. That's one of the biggest wins you can get. Ripple has to make some small changes, and they have to pay a fine. Game over. Ripple's business fully allowed in the United States. The SEC is working with them. This is a massive, massive, massive win. I cannot understate that enough. And it is just crazy to see that this thing is finally closed out. And, right, they still need to put the dismissal of the appeals in, but we'll see that in the next 2 weeks. Ripple and the SEC have been working together. We'll have that very soon. Now, I want to finish this video off and show you a very interesting clip from Chris Larsen that I think everyone needs to listen to. Chris Larsen, in my opinion, is one of the people involved in the XRP ledger who is not given enough attention. He had the original vision of the Internet of Value, and he was one of the OG creators of the XRP ledger. He's really helped what put this entire vision together and really make what this entire thing is a reality. He stuck to this very critical vision of using value in the traditional financial system in a different way, tokenizing that value, and giving that value a way to be able to move between financial institutions, the likes we have really never seen before. Now, to me, this is something that isn't given enough of credit. It's really not. People focus on all these crazy different ways of using blockchain technology, all these different crazy ways to incorporate smart contracts and do things that really, in my opinion, the financial system doesn't need that badly. What the financial system needs is a new set of rails. And that has always been Chris Larsen's vision. But one of the other parts that not a lot of people give Chris Larsen credit for is his vision to work with regulated financial institutions in the very early days. Chris Larsen knew that you had to build up trust with these financial institutions for them to take you seriously, or they just wouldn't take you seriously, right? They would just say, okay, well, this is great. We need a long time to figure out if this is something we ever need to touch. I want you to listen to this clip of Chris Larsen right here, because he's going to break down the work they've been achieving with financial institutions and how important this is to their success moving forward, and how this all incorporates into the bigger picture of why Ripple has a 15-year head start on everyone else. Listen up to this.
What's your biggest achievement with Ripple so far?
Well, I think that we've earned the trust, of this world of enterprise, financial players and payment players, and even treasury operations, and that takes a lot of work. Like, I mean, you kind of look at it. I think we're in a pretty remarkable place in a very, very big industry that, it takes a lot of work and consistency to get that position. So I love that we've succeeded in the position that we're in, and I love the culture that we have, which is, and hats off to Brad for continuing that, really staying pure to the culture. We have just some amazing, dedicated people that are working every single day with the right, core values in their heart to make a positive impact on the world. It is not easy to do. It's very, very hard to do. And I love where we are right now.
That trust factor is so important, because it's one thing to get into cryptocurrencies, a whole nother thing to trust it as the backbone of your entire business. While the rest of the industry is just starting to focus on how do we make this happen? How do we build up this trust? How do we get this confidence? Ripple's already been doing it with these major banking institutions for 10 plus years. This is the critical thing that no one else has, and something that Ripple's been developing the longest time. None of these financial institutions are just going to say, oh, tomorrow we're going to go use this new thing, when Ripple has already been making them confident on their core competence for 10 plus years and proving that they are the experts they should be working with. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. And for now, Mickle out.